Because the truth is that irrespective of how strong you are, when you have 1,000 megawatts immediately knocked off the grid, and it's also threatening Pong, because Pong depends on Okosomo, you cannot sleep. That's the truth. And we've had to work around the clock.
Right.
Now that we've stabilized the system.
Explain what you mean by mission accomplished.
So what happened is that as we speak now, we have enough capacity to meet demand. The mission was to restore the turbines as soon as possible. Indeed, when I visited immediately after the incident, the initial thought was that we needed 6 months because a section believed that we should put the control room back in place before we start injecting power into the grid. Another group thought that they could, especially Frank and Kenzo and Co. They mentioned a certain professor and said if they use his theory, they can connect power directly to the switchyard and feed it to XCC in Tema. And that is what we sought to do. So once we've been able to restore all 6 turbines, that was the mission.
What was going through your mind when your engineers had told you that you needed some 6 weeks or so to fix this?
6 months. 6 months.
6 months. 6 months.
Yes, initially.
Yes. What was going through your mind?
I was very, very devastated when I got the initial briefing. But when the team sat around the clock and they came up with an alternative and indicated that they could finish it in 1 week, I was a bit tense. But they've proven that they can do it. I'm very grateful. The next step, as Ben and Co have been talking about, is to look at an ultra-modern control center. Something that was built in 1964. Even though we did some upgrades 10 years ago during my time, the honest truth is that we need to look for money and put up a new ultra-modern control center.
Yeah, and the president's suggestion was that this could be a blessing in disguise. It brings attention to fix the problem permanently.
Well, like I said, this was not expected, I must be frank with you. And none of us thought that would have such a major incident. Sometimes you have a bit of a fire incident and it's controlled immediately. It does happen. But to completely lose your control center or control room that evacuates more than 1,000 megawatts, the Kosovo Dam has never been shut down completely since it was constructed. This is the first time. And so the President has directed that we immediately bring a proposal to Cabinet for consideration and we'll look for the money wherever we ought to get that money and put up an ultra-modern control center that can withstand all the shocks and unexpected incidents.
Right. So your point is that this particular, control center was not fit for purpose.
No. That's not what I said. I'm saying that this control center was built in 1964. 10 years ago, we did some upgrades. But now with this incident, we ought to put together a new control center. Others said we should refurbish this one. But we've decided that we'll pull it down completely and build a new one, which has all the modern equipment and gadgets as far as we are concerned.
Right, so nobody expects a fire disaster. Like Dr. Theo Champon said, that's kind of the unknown, and as you also said, this was not expected. So why are heads rolling in the area? Why are people suffering their jobs because of what has happened?
Not a single head has rolled. Nobody has been dismissed. Nobody has been sacked. What I have asked as minister is that the chief executive and the host watch this happen. In his own interest, to allow for fairness, he should step aside or take a leave. So that after the investigations, then we'll be seized with the facts. And I think that is even better for him. And if you look at my letter, it stated categorically that without prejudice, we would have directed that he should step aside and take his leave and allow that 2-week investigation. When the report comes out, nobody would even accuse him that he attempted to influence the investigation. So I think that for fairness, to ensure that the report is acceptable by everybody, he should take his leave and step aside. It's good for him and it's good for all of us.
I get you. I don't intend for us to dwell on this, but it's important to treat this issue because I don't understand. My understanding is that there would have been some suspicion of some involvement or some wrongdoing. Otherwise, why is he supposed to step aside? I don't get the point.
Like I said, it's to ensure fairness. There's been a lot of speculation, and something you heard it. And even Ben says that some people's per diem should have been used to do A, B, C, D. And so from day one, I think that it's proper that I took that decision. And as minister, given the circumstance, I think that is the best decision every minister should take. Let the investigation complete, because the investigation is the most important element now. When the results come out and it turns out that everybody is clean, there is no culpability, we'll move on. If there's culpability, we'll deal with that situation the way it ought to be dealt with. But given the circumstance, the decision taken, I think that is a good decision.
So the thing is that the investigation potentially could say that, you know, the VRA boss was negligent, there was something he was supposed to do, he didn't do, or those who are directly responsible for that station ought to have done something they didn't do. Then you can move forward from there, correct?
At this juncture, everything is possible, Samson.
All right.
Unless I get the full investigation, as minister, I do not want to draw conclusions.
Okay.
But let's have an impartial investigation. Let the head step aside so that no one is accused of obstruction. When we get the investigation, all of us will deal with it.
Yeah, and easy lies the head that wears the crown. Now that you have some relief, having had this fix, what are you looking up to? Because the problem predated that. It only worsened it.
Yes, the key problem, and I've sent you the data, and when you look at the 2024 data as against 2025, there's a remarkable improvement. This is data. This is not opinion. These are facts. And I've sent it to you. You can look at 2024 and then that of 2025. In 2024, every single month there was load shedding. And I've sent you the record. It's not 1 week, it's not 2 weeks, it's not 3 weeks. Every single month. And I've sent you the data for 2025. And you can see month on month on month on month, zero load shedding. We are not completely done with the reforms. And I'm one person who would quickly admit, somebody sent a message that this particular area, it keeps getting outages. Is that not the case?
Yes.
So that means that area has a localized problem. And as far back as 2024, I've sent you the information. The ECG MD conceded that a lot of the transformers were either overloaded, they were obsolete, and they were tripping. This is not me. It's not me saying it. So when we inherited office, we roll out a program to work on these transformers. It takes a bit of time. We keep updating and we keep putting out the schedule. So for somebody like that, when we replace his or her transformer, he would see stable supply of power. And so it's a whole value chain, like Ben said. First of all, you have to deal with the generation. Dealing with the generation, stability has also to do with fuel, which we've largely and successfully done. The other one has to do with the money itself in terms of the financial stability. And if you look at the cash waterfall, today IPPs are receiving 100%, 100%. It used to be 42%, and the record is there. Now we are the last mile, which is the distribution sector itself. In Accra alone, Ben will testify, those who are in the sector will testify. We've replaced about 4 transformers at the primary substation, because that is where you carry the bulk of the load and then redistribute. Now we are dealing with the individual transformers, about 33,000 transformers, some of which are either overloaded, obsolete, and so they are not able to carry the load. It takes a bit of time. And so I appeal to Ghanaians for a bit of patience. We are doing a crash program. We've taken 3 months to deal with this situation, and I'm sure that given what we are doing, isolated cases like this will be dealt with.
I was confirming to Richmond Roxon last week that when he was on this show, that the transformer in my area, it keeps tripping because it's an overload one. And they keep coming back to try and tweak it somehow. And one day there was some fire and somehow we got saved. So we still have some power there. So...
But is your area stable as we speak?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
So
that means that we've changed that transformer.
No, it's not being changed. It's not being changed.
Okay, we will change that transformer, because what we are doing is changing the transformers and put in high capacity transformers.
Right.
So your area will be dealt with in the coming weeks.
Okay. One of our viewers, Mark, sending us a message from the USA, makes an intervention, and I think I should bring that to your attention. He says that how can a control room built in the 1960s in Akosombo still be in use without a new building built over 62 years? He thinks that some people should be fired for lack of foresight, not about asking them to step aside.
He has a point, but it's also the matter of the financial health of the sector. A sector that we inherited with 80 billion cedis debt. Something you need some time to address that. And based on the data I sent you, if you check 2023, 2024, at the point, GRIDCO was receiving zero from the cash waterfall. Today, we are giving them about 90%. And so when you restore them to their financial health and make sure they get what they ought to get, then you can put that pressure on them and set those KPIs for them. As I speak, we've ordered fire tenders dedicated for energy installation. And I can send you the bill of lading. But you have to go through procurement, you have to go through all kinds of... So I share in what he says. He has a valid point. But as minister, I'm determined that we leave this sector in a better form and a better shape than we inherited. And that is what we are committed to.
So, is the Ghanaian who is watching, who is listening to us now, and I can tell you there are millions who are watching this show this morning. Some will watch it at night when it is repeated, both home and abroad. Some are listening on radio. Very many people. What can you tell them? Is the problem really over?
The major problem we faced, and you witnessed it, it was pervasive, everybody witnessed it. When you lose more than 1,000 megawatts, it means that you are knocking off 25% of your generation. It will be very widespread, everybody will feel it. That problem, we have dealt with it. We have stability. In fact, yesterday, we exported power. But that is not the end of the story. And so I want to assure Ghanaians that my vision as a minister is to ensure that we have a very stable supply of power and that every home, including your home, where you used to have these challenges, the localized problems are dealt with. Moreover, I want to approach this whole issue with honesty and integrity. Where we have challenges, we would admit it, we would tell the people of Ghana and move on to address those challenges. But finally, we will not be bogged down by complaints. Yes, we inherited challenges. This is why we voted into power. Our duty is to resolve those challenges head on and make this sector a better sector. And when you look at the financial assumption, you look at the generation, you look at the fuel issues, you look at the supply, you look at the IPPs, there's been tremendous improvement. This is an unfortunate incident. We never saw it coming. We took responsibility. We've addressed it. We've resolved it. We have to move to the next level and consolidate the gains that we've made and make this sector a better sector for the people of Ghana.